Welcome back to another episode of Talon Talk. Whatever your listening preference, you can find our feature interviews on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, and of course on UNFOspreys.com. Don't miss our chats with student athletes, coaches, alumni, and Ospreys in the pros. Now, let's get to today's episode. Welcome back. We have a very special guest, a long time coming, Gabby O'Connell. Thanks for being on.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. I jumped the gun there. Give yourself a chance to, show the audience who you are and as a student athlete and as a person.
Yeah, so I am a Gainesville native and going into my, sixth year here at UNF. I graduated back in May with my biology degree, and I'm currently in the exercise science and chronic disease program. On the court, I'm an outside hitter, and yeah.
Well, you gave both sides of the coin there, the academics and the athletics, which, plays into your recent award. You're named ASUN Volleyball Scholar-Athlete of the Year. And for those listening, you're the first one in program history to be named that. Did you know the context of that when you got the award? And then what were your feelings when you did hear that you got that award?
Wow, I actually cried because I think that award for me really meant a lot because I do take both athletics and academics seriously. And I mean, since I got freshman of the year, it's been my goal to be player of the year every year, reach for the stars. And I didn't even think about scholar athlete, honestly. And then when coach called me and we talked about it, um, it really is just a blessing to be honored with that. And I really couldn't do it without my teammates, without my coaches, without my professors. So
Yeah, what's the key to get that done? Because I remember being a student athlete myself, and it was so hard to get work done in certain environments when you're playing. What's the key?
yeah, definitely time management for me. I have multiple different planners, different calendars, and just planning out the day, being proactive in communication with my professors. Yeah, and this year has been really weird with COVID, and it honestly might have helped with everything being online because it was more flexible. So
That's an interesting point. I'm sure some of it probably is easier, but with your degree and in the past, have you had to have a lot of in-person work? And has that changed though this year?
yeah, definitely in person. With being a science major, we have a ton of labs. So, and then with exercise science, a lot of the stuff would have been exercise testing. And unfortunately, I missed out on the in person stuff, but I think my teachers did a great job explaining that. So, hopefully, this coming spring, I'll be able to go into the actual lab. And I know for many people, this time has been weird with online classes and just the lack of social interaction with classmates and professors. But I'm really looking forward to that again.
Yeah, I think for an athlete, you probably do benefit from getting that dose of social interaction amongst peers. You have to go to practice, you have to go to your games, and so you see them there, and it kind of does give a little bit of that balance, which can help when you're in the library all the time alone. I'm sure to have that have that balance. So a little fun fact: you were only the second ASUN volleyball player to ever be named Freshman of the Year, but also ASUN Scholar-Athlete of the Year at some point in your career. Amanda Carroll was the only other one who you know of from FGCU. You've played against many times. What was the first thing you did when you found out you got that award, and then who did you talk to? Who did you tell?
Oh my goodness. Well, of course, it's funny because I was in the line to Starbucks when coach called me and she told me, we screamed, I cried, and I was like, hold on one second, I need to get my coffee. So that was funny because if you don't know me, I love coffee. But then, of course, calling my mom, and she was so happy for me, calling my boyfriend, calling all my teammates, and yeah, just a little fun celebration.
There's only so much you can do to really capture the celebration, for a moment like that, though. So, when you imagine those days, you're like, well, what am I going to do? And then it just kind of hits you so fast, and and there's only so much you can do to process it. You're also second team all conference as well. So for that award, we've talked a little bit in the past and off screen about the context of that award. Just give a little bit of a glimpse of your journey to get to that point since you were named Freshman of the Year back in 16.
Yeah, so I think freshman year, I really was known for my offense. And then after overcoming an injury, I really had to focus on my defensive game. And it's something that I really started to love, both front row and back row. And I had 3 kills, around 3 kills, and then 3 digs per set. And so I just really take pride in being the like well-rounded outside hitter. Yeah, so that's all I have.
No, I mean, that's truly what has happened. Statistically, you know, as you know, you're 1,000 dig, 1,000 kill club now, joining Paige Pridgeon, who also has some ups like yourself, on the outside, a UNF Hall of Famer. When I first got here back in 18, just was learning about the team a little bit, and you know, some people did compare you to her in terms of your athleticism
Mhm.
and your, you know, ability to play both sides of the net. Um, what, you know, becoming at 1,000 dig, 1,000 kill club member, was that something that you kind of foresaw going into college, or did you just think, you know, kills per set and attack percentage are what I'm going to focus on?
No, it really is crazy. I never saw it coming, and I'm just really thankful. Like I was able to overcome injuries, and like every year, just setting a little goal for myself and achieving it.
So some of your injuries, you know, they've gotten in the way of your ability to be on the court, but you get back on the court and now you got to deal with that mental side of knowing you've been injured in the past.
Mhm.
You know, it's one thing to be maybe a libero, or if you look at, you know, some other sports, maybe some more low impact positions. And
Mhm.
okay, if I've had this injury, maybe I can get by a little bit, but you've got to jump, you got to attack, you got to be at the net sometimes to jump, and block as well. How did you handle that mentally, you know, dealing with that in the back of your mind? What was the key for you to kind of get over that?
Yeah, it's definitely a process. And honestly, I just know that God's got me. Like everything really does happen for a reason. Um, and I still deal with some of those problems, but I think that's why my 2018 year coming back was I just didn't really feel like myself because I had to overcome such a big injury. But just slowly and surely, you know, gaining my confidence back, and repetition after repetition helps with that. But yeah, just praying about it, being confident that my practice and all those reps, you know, have the muscle memory and that I can do it.
So, uh, you know, going back to what you said about you know, performing well defensively, and I had never thought about it that way in terms of I got to change my game up a little bit. I got to offer some other things if I have these injuries. Um, you know, how did you improve so much defensively? And you know, there's been games this year where you had 24 digs this year in a game. And that FIU crazy game last year, you had 29 kills. You also had 19 digs. Like that's a lot. You know, that to people that don't know volleyball, it's hard to do.
Mhm.
Um, what was the process for you? Like, did you have to take a step back, like, and you know, be humble about it and be like, okay, maybe I got to do this. You know, maybe this is what I have to add. How did you do that?
Yeah. Well, I think our coaches did a really good job this year at changing our defensive system. In the past, I had played middle back, and I think we just realized that left back might be best for myself and for the team. And I think that helped like play into why I had so many digs and like consistently perform back row. But I mean, in club, I was all the way around. Um, yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Um, a lot of those big numbers, those big games, you have a favorite one that you look back on this year, or, you know, in 2019, 18, or even ones in 16, your freshman, you know,
Yeah.
season?
I think this year a big highlight for me was playing well versus Clemson. I mean, they're a great team. We took them to 5 on our home court, and like a lot of people performed that game. Last year, I would say UCF. It was against one of my best friends, and she balled out, I balled out, so that
Yeah.
was really cool. And then definitely playing FGCU this year. I mean, we swept them on their home court and we won at home. And so that alone was amazing. And I'm just so thankful I could like do my job on the team.
So you had another big game. Speaking of the ACC teams, you performed really well against Wake Forest back when you guys played them in 2019 too. So you definitely have showed out against some big teams, and I'm sure your teammates also have looked up to you as well. Even when you were coming off of an injury in your 2018 season and technically a redshirt sophomore, um, not upperclassmen athletically, it seemed to me that you definitely were someone the players kind of looked up to and saw as the example.
Mhm.
Is that something that you're comfortable handling, and do you like that naturally?
I definitely love having people look up to me, and I'm so thankful that others like trust me and feel like they can come to me both on and off the court. But leadership is definitely an area that I've tried to improve throughout my college career, and I think I'm like at the peak for that for myself right now. But yeah, I definitely like to help like build a fire in someone, help build confidence, and just know that like I got their back no matter what it is, and that we'll get through the game or whatever obstacle that they're facing together.
hmm Because it's, you've had a lot of the same student athletes by your side since you got here, but
Yeah.
looking back to 2016, there's some people that are long in the past that you've had to deal with different personalities and different people, and even for you with the coaching staff as well. Um, Looking at things full circle, 2016 to 2021, where we're at right now, which is crazy to say.
Yeah.
It doesn't totally, it's not really fair completely because 2021 will still be next fall, next volleyball season indoor as well. So it's not like 2022, what's going on here. But
Chill.
personal, yeah, yeah. Personally, how do you think you've changed and evolved the most since you first got to UNF?
Yeah, I think just my volleyball IQ has improved. Like, I think I know the game a lot better. And honestly, that probably came from sitting out all the time that I
Mm,
did. I think you learn a lot from watching other people play, watching back film of yourself play. So just knowing like it doesn't have to be the super big kill, like it can just be a tip over, or like if you're not performing hitting, just what can you give to the team? Is it leadership? Is it my serve receive? Stuff like that. So I think just like being intelligent, it doesn't always have to be like crazy plays, and just inspiring others, it like be unselfish and help others.
mhm. Go through kind of just mentally what it was like to sit out those that year in 2017 and then a little bit of 19. Like, how did you structure your days? Like, what did you really focus on? Like, because your day really does change if you're not competing,
Yeah.
because it affects everything. It affects you know, maybe your mood in some ways, like your energy levels would be different if you did play versus didn't. You got to get stuff out somehow, but you still have therapy, all those different things. What was like really, how did you go about your day?
Yeah, like you said, it definitely was a different lifestyle. And I'm so thankful for everyone who supported me during those times. I mean, I was on a scooter on crutches and people were giving me rides, picking me up. And yeah, but going to practice, going to physical therapy, still fitting in school, going to weights, traveling if I was able to. But yeah, definitely crazy.
Yeah. What have you learned about yourself since, going through that adversity?
Yeah, I've definitely learned that I'm resilient and that pain is temporary and it's something that you can get through, and that like you don't have to do things alone. There are so many people, whether it's like support staff or your own coaches, teammates, friends outside of school, family members, etc., like who are there for you and really only a phone call away, and it's okay to ask for help when you need it.
Yeah, it's one thing for, someone like me, I'll see you on game day or I'll see you here and there, and you see somebody and you kind of have an idea of how they're handling something, but you don't always know the full picture, and you see them in snapshots and whatnot. Is there something about you that is true that other people are like, you don't think other people necessarily know and might be the reason that got you through those times?
I guess just my faith, honestly, like that's the one thing you can turn to, and the one thing that's going to be there at the end of the day. And just praying about things and having the support again, like I said. But again, I think everything really does happen for a reason. Like if I wouldn't have gotten injured, I wouldn't be here this next year. I wouldn't have been able to be a part of the like special team we had this last year, and I wouldn't have been able to achieve like my goals. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you look at it that way, you don't always know what's good until wait a little bit, and then
Yeah.
the things will turn around for you. Uh, Goals right now, obviously you're in class, and then the beach team is going right now, and so it's kind of all over the place still for you. You're not out of the forest yet this year.
Mhm.
Um, what's the focus when you do get to summer, and prepare for the fall season? What do you want to add? What's the next step that you want to go as a player and as a person?
Yeah, definitely the key this summer is to get stronger. I mean, we were technically like in season from fall through now, and like that's more maintenance stuff, but muscle is so important for not only performance, but like staying healthy. And I think like our trainers and coaches and strength staff did a great job through all that. And then also last summer we grinded over summer. We had so many Zoom calls doing film, reading books, all this stuff. And I think if I can do a little bit of that every day, that'll help a lot.
Yeah, that's crazy that it was a year ago that we were confined to that, but now you're back you're back to a little bit more normal life, but I'm sure there'll be some of that this summer as well. Speaking about the spring season this year and some of the notable things, 10-10, 8-4 in conference, made the ASUN semifinals, FGCU wins, some of the Stetson wins were really memorable, that 3-2 reverse sweep too.
Yeah.
Uh, why was this team a little bit different this year?
Wow, there are so many cool things to say about this team, but I mean, we had most everyone returned except Taryn Griffey, and then we added so many people, freshmen and Bree Welp, the transfer, and it was just amazing to see how quickly everyone was able to adapt to our system and really latch on to like our goal and what we wanted to accomplish this year. But yeah,
It truly was that. You had so many options this year. That was the thing, two middle blockers that could block and attack, and Maddie and Bree, which is a big add. And then Logan's addition, Kaylee. I mean, you guys, had some firepower. Solomar are obviously Rocio and Juliana,
yeah,
so there
definitely
was, yeah,
well-rounded. It was like I think one of the most well-rounded teams we've had, and that takes pressure off me, takes
yeah,
pressure off other people, and it was so cool to just be like, nope, we're setting right side today. Go ahead,
yeah.
Haley. Like,
Yeah, I mean, because every little breather you get, you're a little bit stronger on that next one. And that's the thing about volleyball, and definitely beach volleyball, is that time when you lay out, your next jump might not be as big. And so, all those things add up, and especially as you're playing five setters, and there definitely were quite a few of them this year that you guys
yeah, we
went to
look
five.
like
Yeah, you could just kind of smell it in the air sometimes when you knew this is gonna be a five setter today. And there definitely were some of those. So as far as the scholar side of things, in grad school right now, and that's definitely an important part of your life. What's the end goal, and what are you striving for?
yeah. So I should graduate in May of 2022, and then I'm hoping to become a PA and impact the lives of others as best as I can. I don't really know which field I want to get into, but I'm thinking like orthopedic, sports medicine, stay around sports. But I've also always had a love for neurology, so I'm really open to anything.
Why that, why that field?
Yeah,
Why it's very difficult, in terms of the studies and also the execution of the job. But, what was the draw there for you?
yeah. Funny story. So when I broke my arm in second grade and had to go to the ER, and literally it was that moment when I saw the interaction of everything and just being in the ER, I was fascinated and knew like I want to be in the medical field. I didn't really know what position I wanted to be in, but I came into college wanting to be a nurse practitioner, then switched that to then I switched my major to biology, and I realized all the prereqs I was taking was basically enough to go to med school. And I was like, all right, full send, we're going to be a doctor. Then I'm like, okay, timeline, 8 years. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some days where you look at it and you're like, I don't know why I did this to myself. I mean, that means you're doing the right thing, though. You don't want to not be challenged in life, for
Yeah,
sure.
challenge.
It's always funny when people do say that field and do deal with severe situations, because in our field, obviously there are some tense moments as well, but people try to lighten it up, but like, well, at least nobody's, health is on the line or anything like that. Nobody's in it. So we have that fault to fall back to when things are breaking in my job, but in yours, in your field, it's a little bit more serious. So applause for going for that. So we talked a little bit about, 20 credits or so left around there. And then next year competing in indoor, and then some fluid eligibility for beach volleyball as well. Hopefully you get back on there on the sand. Anything that you want to say and add? I know you got some studies to go for tonight. Anything that you want to leave with?
Yeah, I just hope I thanked enough people. It really, like, I could not have done this without everyone. It takes a village. And like, I'm so happy to be a part of UNF. It's such a beautiful campus, such a family here. And I'm excited for this next year. We're bringing in great people and we're ready to go.
Yeah, you guys are continuing to add. I know that for sure. A little bit of the inside scoop on who's coming. So looking forward to that. And always a pleasure, Gabby. Always fun to watch you on the court, and looking forward to another year.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to Talon Talk. Find the complete archive along with feature articles on UNFospreys.com by going to Fans and Talon Talk podcast series under the Multimedia tab.